Hello and welcome to another episode of Rallying the Forge. I'm Solimer, and we are going to be talking about Scientist decks today. We got the patch earlier this week. I can pull that info up, but basically they fixed the issue with soulbinds being able to play multiples, and it wasn't all soulbinds, it was just certain ones, maybe just the new ones even. I'm not positive on that, exactly which ones it was. But, let's see if I can find it here. Maybe it's on the Steam page. So it says bonus card soulbinds only get brought in once per card, not twice. So previously the big issue was around Ira. You could play multiple Iras, and when they, their ability says replace this with, either Irax or Irax Unbound, you could keep replacing it because it wasn't like you would have one in your deck. If you had a physical deck, you'd have the Irax and Irax Unbound would be a two-sided card, so you only have one of it to put into play. So if it's already in play, you can't put another one in play, but you're able to do it. It was going to impact the Scientist event because, well, Ira is a Scientist, and in the Scientist legendary drop. So, of course, you're going to see it potentially. I was fully prepared to abuse that mechanic. I have a Killian deck with an Ira, and it's actually the deck I wanted to play, but it was half a point short of getting me 3 bonus points. So I switched it out for a deck that will give me 3 bonus points. If the Ira bug would have persisted, and we're also looking into a ruling on whether Ira counts for 1, or because Irax is a separate card but it's still soulbind and it's not summoned, quote quote, if it counts as an additional point for players. So I asked Lucas for an official ruling on it. Currently I counted it as 1. I can't remember if it was asked or discussed at any point. I didn't look it up, but I don't recall specifically if it was asked about in this manner. I know he said if a card summons a creature, but these are not summoned, these are just played. So there's a little bit of nuance there. We'll see what he says. If it's an additional point, I could have played the other deck, and I would have liked the other deck much better. So I'll be disappointed if that's the case, especially if I don't qualify this time. But nonetheless, so that's what this was primarily about. This is why the Scientist event has been pushed off a few weeks, because they were trying to work on the patch. Other things in the patch that got corrected: Staff of Souls checks if a spell is in the banished pile before replaying it, preventing double playing Exalts, for example. Spells are reset upon entering the banished pile, so their available choices are refreshed if they get played again later. So previously, with Staff of Souls, it would play an Exalt twice, even though you only have one of it there. And other spells where you have multiple choices, when you selected them, I guess it was exhausting the spell digitally, and when it went to replay it, you had no choices, so it didn't do anything. Conflagrate level 2 warding fixed. I don't know if that's the issue where the mage set, legendary drop set, Conflagrate was different than Conflagrate in all other versions. I thought all 3 levels of the card were messed up. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not positive on what wording was changed. And then they Plaguebearer at Artfield fixed to show correct cards. So Plaguebearer previously was shown all sorts of images, but otherwise he's still a bad card, even if Traveler thinks he's great, or a corrupt Plaguebearer is great. Whatever floats his boat. So that was the patch. That was a couple days ago. And so the Scientist event went live yesterday, and today I played my match against the Upside Down. I squeaked out 2 wins against him. He won the middle match. He probably should have won all 3 matches. His deck is good. My deck is lucky. So sometimes better be lucky than good. So, yeah. Let's look at the matchups for the Scientist event here. It's run on melee.gg. So Ankh got the bye. We have Sorum and a Novus won that. We have Red Eyes versus Ike's Ninjas. They have not played yet. We have Billy Bad Aim versus Iron Bryce. They have not played yet. We have Crypto Phantom versus Traveler. Traveler won that. Antofa versus Will of Sol. They have not played yet. Nullseed versus Namrog. Not played yet. Skull Crusher versus Wood Noggin. That's who Rick P is. They have not played yet. Myself versus Brandon. Like I said, I got lucky. Carl versus FK Rotes. FK Rotes won that. And then we have Bionic Soup versus Ithai. And they have not played yet either. So a lot of matches to come. So over the next 4 weeks, we'll have updates on the standings. I will show my sheet now. So I've shared this in the Creature Chaos general chat or whatever it is for people to be able to see. This shows everyone's decks, who it is, their points for the scientist, and then over here has their bonus points that they earned. It's sorted from highest to lowest. So we have plenty of people with 5 bonus points again, and we have some people with 0 bonus points down here. So, and then I have my standings sheet, and I'm making adjustments to it because I modified it late in the Dino one, so there's some things I had to change with my formulas to prevent my my conditional formatting from showing up too early and doing weird sorts of suggestions, basically saying, oh, you've qualified or you are eliminated, which is not the case for anybody yet. Although Anovis does have 8 points already. He just needs one more win, and he'll be sitting pretty good. He'll be sitting on the bubble. If he gets 2 more wins, he's automatically in. So anyone who is a 5 total points player, if they go 3-1, they are in. So this table here shows the likelihood pre any matches, and then this one as matches are played based on current results. What are the odds? So this won't change at first, but you can see here if a player with 0 bonus points loses a match and they can only get 9 max possible, they're basically eliminated already. So, although I don't have him marked because I have to change my formulas, then I haven't worked out the exact formulas I need to make it work exactly how I want. But essentially, Crypto's already going to be eliminated. But it's going to be tough for players to qualify again. You're going to need to you need to go 4-0. And I don't know how many we're going to have. I haven't worked out the numbers to see how many we're going to have go 4-0 in this. But we may have 2 players go 4-0. So there's a level that you hope that it's 2 of the 5-point players and not 2 of the other players. Because if it's 2 other players and then you have 5-point players that go 3-1, they eliminate everybody else. So this way, if these other players are going 3-1 and the only 4-0s are 5-point players, you have more likelihood that the 12-point players might get in. So it'll be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out with the bonus points. We talked about it with the Dino set, how the 5 bonus points is a huge advantage compared to the 3, 2, and 0. Just based on you can go 3-1 and auto qualify. The problem again with Dinos was those 5-point decks did really bad. I think only one of them might have qualified. I'd have to pull up the sheet and see again, but it was very close on that too. So. So let's talk about the decks. So the first deck we're going to look at is Red Eyes. So he has an Aloyan Necrium build here. I haven't looked at any of the decks, so it's first look for me as well. So I'm looking. He has a interesting Madlewinter Betrayer. He's got a Gox Metamind here. River of Souls with the Aloyan portion here. Interesting. Double Maniacal in his deck there in the Necrium half. Luvian, Revenant, Sigmund Fraud. So I don't know. Excuse me. So he didn't go for like a Mad Lab build with the Betrayer Madlewinter. That would have been interesting to put it with a Synteta's Laboratory. But maybe this Scientist Aloyan half was just so much better than anything else. He does have a Necrocrat. Citadel Necrocrat. So he's just a defender. He's just a big defender. That's interesting. So I'm not sure his strategy with the deck. Only 5 spells, not counting the Soulbinds that he plays when he plays those creatures. I guess maybe he does chuck things with the Madlewinter, and can get minions to come back with it, pump up the Steel Eye Researcher. I'm not sure the strategy on this one, just looking at it. Steel Eye is definitely a key card for him, I feel like. He does have River of Souls to bring it back as well, or other things. If he needs to get that minion generation going, he can use Madlewinter. If you're not familiar with the card, his higher levels let you activate, destroy a minion to deal damage to an enemy creature. It's 12 damage at level 3, so you can pretty much wipe a lane out, which can be really good. And he's got a ton of minion potential generation here, and if he has Nexus Core Prime, creatures in that lane are minions, and then when one of your creatures is destroyed in this lane, you can play a Gizmo minion in another lane, so you get another creature out there. So he does have a Dreadbolt. Tech Upgrade can do damage to creatures as well, so he's got some cards to potentially open lanes up. You got to pay attention for that against this deck, because the Steel Eye Researcher is probably going to get huge. He does have a Poltergeist, which so he can trigger the Poltergeist with this as well, and it's an Abyssal Poltergeist, so end of deck cycles, your opponent's destroying a creature. He can also bring that back potentially with River of Souls late in a cycle, off Forge potentially, and make it so you can't stop that from hitting you. And it's not level gated or anything, so multiple Poltergeists on the board can make you sacrifice multiple creatures. Only card not affected by that, of course, is Krogaius. So his Forgeborn ability, he probably plays Steel Rosetta would be my guess. But that's what it seems like. I don't know, besides Steel Eye Researcher, what else. I guess with the Metamind Paragon and these Exalts on the board, and River of Souls is an Exalt too, he's pumping up creatures, so that's where he's getting his attack from, is by things on Exalt and using Gox to pump them. And he's got Steel Eye Researcher, perhaps not on an Exalt, growing with minions. So and then he can use Madlewinter to clear a lane out. So interesting. I don't know how good it's going to be or not. You know, some of these decks are not good. You know, this is a Scientist limited theme, so it's Scientist oriented, but I don't know, interesting. I just played against a deck that was clearing my lanes out here and there for win conditions, so I don't like it, but you know, is what it is, right? Next up, we've got Sorum's deck. So Sorum is playing a Aloyan Necrium as well. It's very interesting. I mean, it is the two factions for the Scientist legendary drop. So it's surprising, but maybe it shouldn't be so surprising. But I figured we'd see different combinations of factions. But so this is his, at least the Aloyan half. Excuse me for yawning so much. He's got his. It looks like it might be a different half. I don't know if it's the same or not. I can't tell. No, I think this is the one. He's got 9 of the 10 cards are scientist cards in this deck, which is crazy. So he's got Drix, Voss. He's got a Necrocrat. He's got Cyphron Chrome. Only 2 spells, Fire Squad and Mechamorphosis, but you know, it is what it is. He pairs it with a Necrium deck with a Blight Witch, Dr. Frankenbaum. He's got a Stitcher. He's got 4 spells. Of course, Evil Lab has to be one of them in this set. Ghastly Renewal, which is nice for potential reanimation later on. He does have a Necrolord Yorick, so it brings in an extra creature on Slay, is it? So initially on level 3, plays it, and then Slay can bring it back out. And then you can sack them to pump your creatures up. So, and he's got a Banshee in here as well. So the creature package, not top notch, but not poor either in this regard. I like these 3 creatures very much so. He's got a lot of good creatures here on the Aloyan half, and the Drix and the Voss and the Necrocrat potentially growing with Necrium cards being played. So he's got a lot of stuff going for him in that regard. The replacement stuff could be troublesome for players. And if he, depending on his hand and the spells and what he's got on the board, sacking creatures for Blight Witch for free spell plays can be pretty good. So he's also got Immortal Echoes for some upgrading, and also potentially reducing creature attack and health. But yeah, I don't know which Forgeborn he plays. Probably the Ironbeard, but I don't know for sure. And he can stop health gain with Cyphron Chrome, so if anyone's playing any life gain stuff, you can stop it with that. So, and those 2 decks had the most scientist points of all the cards, so that's interesting. Next up, we have a Novus. So a Novus has a Dr. Blotley. Oh boy, I hope Red Eyes is not playing his Blotley deck. Ooh. He probably is. Is he not? Did I already do Red Eyes? He's not playing his Blotley deck. Interesting. A Novus is playing Blotley though. So a Necrium Aloyan again. Shouldn't be so surprised. And look at his deck. He's got, wow, 8 out of 10 cards are scientist cards. I don't know if I've got any decks with that many scientist cards. You can see the icon there telling you that it was ported into the deck. So he's got a Voss. He's got a Blotley. He's got a Harvester. No Operator over on this side. He's got a Pipwick, which can be annoying. A Diabolist, so he can play a zombie minion. Your zombies get stealth this turn. He's just got some other set 4 cards here that are kind of meh. But Blotley's nice because he can bring stuff back onto the board. He's got a lot of things that also bring back, potential minion generation. He can also, if Voss is on the board, replace something potentially, and then bring it back and throw it on top of the Gizmo minion with that combination. So be interested to see how this deck plays. He doesn't have it paired with a Varos. That's what I was looking for. So Forgeborns. You might play Toxis Mori in this one. You can give somebody stealth. do damage, gain health, and the Queen's Knife, pump something up. So very creature heavy, only 5 spells. Very interesting, nonetheless. Next up, we have Bionic Soup. So Jed is Aloyan Necrium. He's got a Madla-Winter. He's got a Harvester. No Operator. He's got a Stitcher Harvester. So he's kind of going with a lot of minion type stuff as well. Disciple of Varric. So when a minion's destroyed, you can reduce an enemy minion, kind of like it's a lot weaker than the Darkshaper Savant, but similar mechanic, I guess. He has a Betrayer Dreadbolt, but no Dreadbolt in the Necrium half, but it is a set 4 half. So 6 spells in this deck, though. Creature heavy again. He's got Grizzle to chuck zombies, potentially, if he wants to do zombies, or any creature, really. But it does damage to the player. And Madla-Winter can chuck minions at creatures and clear lanes as well. So seeing with these 5-point decks here, interesting, similar style, at least from my viewpoint, mechanics. It's interesting. I just wonder how much they can keep the minions on the board. So be interesting to see how these all end up playing out. Skull Crusher is next. Necrium Aloyan. So he's got a Stitcher. He's got a Necrocrat, a Sequencer, 5 spells. Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry for that. 5 spells. All these decks have had low spell counts. It's interesting. I guess just because you have to have so many scientists and they were trying to go for the bonus points, they had to hit a certain level. So maybe they just, that's the best way to get it, is having tons of creatures, lots of scientists. He's got a Doom Diabolist. So he can do some stealth mechanics. Nothing really stands out as a coherent strategy other than the Necrocrat being something that just grows and grows and grows. But you can remove that with a Dreadbolt or some other removal cards. He's got a Bride of Frankenbaum for free spells, but like I said, only 5 spells. He does have a Dreadbolt. But, yeah, interesting. Not sure which Forgeborn. Perhaps the Nyx, because it's bringing in Zombie Brutes for the first 2 abilities. That'd be my guess, is it's the Nyx. Okay, next is Antofa. Also doing Necrium Aloyan. Only 3 spells in this deck. So he's got a Technocrat, which gets pumped by Aloyan creatures being played. He's got a Harvester, no Stitcher, Zelrath. He's got a Vicious Catalyst, which pumps up your minions as you play them. He's got a Queen's Assassin, which is nice fuse use, so some good set 4 creatures there. He has an Endless Hunt to reanimate a warrior, Ghastly Renewal, which can potentially reanimate creatures, especially with Scientists in the deck, and a Warmonger mod. He's got a Siphon Chrome in the Aloyan half. And just a bunch of scientists for the most part. Nothing stands out as amazing. He does have a suppressing magnetist. So suppressing is a good, nice ability to have. Attentive tactician. So he gives all his creatures where the enemy spells cannot affect them. So that can be good too. So if he's trying to push something through or protect his board state, he can drop that creature. So he's probably using the Nyx, especially the Necrokinesis there on cycle 2. He doesn't have any removal, but he does have Zombify here. So he could destroy a creature, but they get a Zombie Brute instead, which is okay sometimes. You're like, that's fine. I'll let them have the Zombie Brute, because whatever they had was crazy good. Next up is Wood Noggin. So Wood Noggin has an Ira. He's got 6 spells, not counting Soulbinds, but those are creatures anyhow. He has a Drix. He's got a Prepared Sequencer. So Prepared readies one of your creatures, so you can exhaust Drix, ready him with the Sequencer, and use Drix again if he wanted. He also has an Allomancer. So mages can pump his damage up. He can poke things. Looks like most of his creatures are going to be scientists, though. Ira's a mage as well. Okay. Necrium half. He has a Harvester, but no Stitcher. He has a Darkshaper Savant. He's got a Necrolord York, which we talked about in someone else's deck. Grizzle, we talked about that for chucking zombies potentially. He's got a Caller of Souls for some upgrade early on, and then its level 3 is if he's got 3 or more spirits in the banish pile, destroy this, destroy all enemy creatures, can wipe their board. Could be huge if he's got the spirits. I don't know if he does or not. I'm not seeing a lot of spirits here. The Death Seeker is a spirit. So he'd have to have the Death Seeker die 3 times before he can trigger off Caller of Souls. His spells, he's got Ice Storm, Immortal Echoes, and Metamorphosis. So he's got, that's his removal style cards, control style cards, Renewal, and the Silver Arc. Renewal will ready a creature, give it armor, so you can use that with Drix again to put out minions, or Allomancer to poke things. I'm not sure. Sigmund Fraud can make zombies aggressive, so we could potentially use it there. So very, very creature heavy here. Okay, Nullseed is next. Nullseed, Necrium Aloyan. I feel like we're gonna see that a lot. I mean, I'm playing the same. I'm playing it too, but it's just I didn't think about that before I got into this. That this was all gonna be Necrium Aloyan decks primarily. Okay, so he's got 6 spells. Got a Ghastly Renewal in there. Runescarred Pit's nice. It's a natural Ghastly Renewal, by the way. He has a Necrotize. Pumps a creature, gives it the zombie creature type. And I don't know if that's permanent or just that turn. I mean, the way it reads, I would think it's just that turn, but I'm not positive how the game treats it. So I'll be curious to find that out. Attentive Justicar. So Attentive is good to prevent your creatures from being hit by your opponent's spells. He's got a Necrocrat. Steel Eye Researcher. So minions and Necrium creatures can pump those 2 up. Those are definitely his 2 biggest threats, in my opinion. He does have, with the intent of Justicar blocking, being able to remove them potentially. That can be very dangerous. And the Necroom half, he's got a Necromancer. He's got Zymus. He's got a Butcher and a Diabolist who can make your zombies stealth. Be nice if they had the guy that was the zombifying, makes all your creatures zombies as well, because you could have you could drop that, make all your creatures zombies, then drop the Diabolist, and boom, they all get stealth, potentially win the game, depending on if they can't block your guys suddenly. So, especially if you get these two guys pumped up, then they're just chump blocking them, trying to hold off. But you make them stealth, pretty nice. But he does have a Killian as well, so I'm assuming he's playing Killian with this. He's got Killian converged on cycle 2. Obviously, no Mantis or Forge Seal here, but there's plenty of leveling up going on with convergence there with these decks. Then he's got Refined Calculation to play a spell for free, and then Echoing Essence lets him play 2 creatures from his discard pile for free at cycle 4. So, and he's got a Necromancer to potentially pull things out, upgrade things he missed on leveling. He does have Ghastly Renewal, potentially reanimate some things. So it'll be interesting to see how this deck plays with and what he can do for minion generation. Because I'm not seeing a lot of minion generation here so much. So that could be a problem. You have the Rune-Scarred Pit, of course. You have Necrotize making something count as a zombie, but it's not a minion. Ghastly Renewal plays minions, but that's about all you have for minion generation. So, be interesting to see. All right, next up we have Gambit 184. And his deck, Necreum Aloyan. He has a Killian. I'm assuming he's using Killian. He's got, 8 spells here? 5 from Necreum, 3 from Aloyan. He's got a Drix in his Aloyan half. He's got an Alamancer. He's got 2 Spell Shield creatures, a Tactician and a Sculptor. So the only way to kill them is through combat, essentially, or other creature spells, or not spells, but creature abilities rather. Energy Prison can reduce attack of his opponents. Isolate can destroy things. He does have a Dreadbolt. He's got a Necrovive, Om Nom Nom, Ghastly Renewal, and Necrotize. So good spell package. His creatures on the Necreum half, he's got Dr. Frankenbaum. He does have a Harvester, which helps with all the scientists, of course. He has a Keeper of the Damned with a Sigmund Fraud, and then the Corrupt Diabolist. But very interesting. He doesn't have a card where it's like, this card's going to win you the game. Drix is going to make his stuff much bigger, which really helps. His Spell Shield creatures are going to be really tough to get rid of if they come down with the level 3 Drix out there, for example. Pump them up by 10-10. That'll get you some pretty big bodied creatures at a minimum. So it'll be interesting to see how this deck works. He did lose his first round matchup, so we'll see. And Carl is the beginning of the 3 bonus point players. Next up is Namrog, Necreum Aloyan. He has a Harvester Stitcher combo. He's got a Shambling creature. He's a Keeper of the Damned, Disciple of Varric. He's got 6 spells. He's got a Circe's Call, which can be really nice. Necrovive, Grave Pack, and then Epidemic. He's got Redact, which is nice for Aloyan removal. Tech upgrade. On the other half there, he has, oh wow, he has a Betrayer Krogaius in Aloyan with an Attentive Sequencer. So Attentive, making all his creatures on the board immune to opponent's spells. He's got a Drone. And then a bunch of Scientists. So curious how this deck plays, or the strategy behind it. Siphon Chromes are going to hurt this deck with the Shambling, so you can't get the health back. He's got a manually level Krogaius when he draws them. He's got a lot of uses for that small body, but it's interesting. He doesn't have any of the Krats in either half deck, so not sure how this one plays. He does have a Tormenting Stitcher, which is nice because he can destroy an enemy minion, and there's plenty of minions in everyone's decks, it seems like. So yeah, very interesting. Next up, we have Iron Bryce, and Bryce is bringing a Necrium Aloyan build. He has he might be playing Cersei here with the level Cycle 2 Army Commander, Cycle 4 Death Touch for his Necrium half, or spells in general. He's got 8 spells total. He has Necrovive, Soul Reap, Varric's Embrace, and Zrath's Will. And then he has, for the Aloyan half, he's got a Synthetis Laboratory, Tech Upgrade, Duplication Dome, Isolate. His Necrium spells are definitely better. His Necrium half deck is a set 1 entire. It's not a legendary drop Scientist deck. And then he's got, for creatures for it, he's got a Stitcher Shambling Harvester combo. He's got a Dr. Frankenbaum with a Sigmund Fraud. So he's got 4 Scientists in this with 4 good spells. And then his Aloyan half, he's got Drix and Ira. Ira is such a good card, by the way. If you can flip it, it's so strong. He's got a Synapse Engineer, so he can upgrade cards with the Synapse ability. So I'm curious what his win condition is, how that looks. Shambling, obviously, probably plays a role in it. Ira can be a huge card for him. But I don't know what else is. The Demon early on can be a really big body. Frankenbaum late in the match. So, be interested to see. It's a pretty good balanced build, though. And Ira's such a good card. So, Drix is nice with that. That's really nice. It's too bad. It's just the only thing missing is it being a Killian deck. But otherwise, pretty sound. FK Rotes, next on the list. His deck, I should say, Necrium Aloyan again. Don't need to say it every time, I guess. But he's got a Stitcher Harvester combo, Cutthroat Harvester in particular, which can be nice for removing stuff, especially if you have a lot of minion generation. He has a Shambling Spirit. If you can get that on the board, that's a nice body. Combat Banshee's decent. He does have a Moeba, which can get big. He's got Disciple of Varric. Only 5 spells, so he's creature heavy with the build. Spell-wise, he's got a Dreadbolt and Ghastly Renewal. And then the 3 Aloyan spells. He's got Force Field, Gauntlets of Solgrim, Heavy Artillery, so kind of meh. But he does have a Cersei with an AC 3, so he can be looking to bring something out in cycle 3 with that, leveling it up. He has an Operator in his Aloyan half. He's got a Drix. He has a Rallying Sequencer. He's got a suppressing sculptor as well, so suppressing is a nice modifier. He does have a charge-plated inventor, although I don't know how much he's upgrading that card at all. I guess he could use Army Commander to level it up once if he takes the time to level it up one time. So, interesting. Okay. Traveler is next. Let's see what he's bringing. He's got a Mad Lewinner deck. So we'd seen a lot of Mad Lewinner with the high bonus point decks early on. We saw a lot of those. We see him return here with a 3 bonus point deck with a Killian. Saffron Chrome. This might be his... the Killian half might be his really good Killian half. I don't know how many Killian decks he has, so this might be the only one. I don't remember what was in it. He's got a drone. It might be the same deck, so maybe the Mad Lewinter is just inconsequential. I don't know. Spells. 5 spells for Aloyan alone. He's got 8 total. He pairs it with a Necrium half with 3 spells. He's got Circe's Call, Infernal Ritual, Varric's Embrace, so decent spells. No Dreadbolt in this event. Should note for him. But he does have Redact, which is a nice spell. His spells in general are half decent. The drone is nice for him to upgrade stuff. Then he's got the Necrium half creatures. He's got it paired with his... Does he have 2? He's got a second one. So he's got a Betrayer Relentless Wanderers. This is not the same one as he had before. He's got 2 Betrayer Relentless Wanderers in Necrium, apparently. He's got a Combat Shambler, Combat Summoner, so some minion generation. He's got Grizzle to chuck minions, potentially. Chuck zombies in particular. He's got a Tormenting Diabolist, Sigmund Fraud, Keeper of the Damned. So he's got a lot of minion potential generation there. And he might be chucking minions with Grizzle and Mad Lewinner. It seems like it's a common... Those 2 cards are showing up in the same decks, it seems like. He's got a lot of minion generation potential here with spells with the Summoner, Relentless Wanderers just being on the board. He's got an Overseer. So he could potentially be chucking and clearing out the board that way. Be interesting to see if that's the case. Next up, we have Ithai. He's got a Necrium Aloyan deck. He has 6 spells, not counting Soulbind stuff. He has an Ira in his deck here with a Combat Sequencer. He's got a Voss. He does have a Drone Hive in the deck. Mechamorphosis. His Soulbind card he has in the Necrium half is Conscript the Dead, so he's got Ruthless Wanderers and Ruthless Army, which works well in a minion-style deck, I suppose, so there might be something there for it. He's got a Dreadbolt for removal. He has a Stitcher. He's got a Darkshaper Savant. He has a Grizzle. He does have a Summoner as well. He's got a Devouring Creature, but only 6 spells. So, be interesting to see how this deck plays. Ira's definitely a big card for him. The Darkshaper Savant can be really good for him. Grizzle could potentially win it for him if he gets you low enough health. Start chucking his minions that he generates. So he's probably using the Steel Rosetta, would be my guess. Next up, we've got my deck. Aloyan Necrium. I have a Killian Aloyan half with a Necrium deck with a Betrayer Krogaius. So Aloyan, I've only got 7 spells in the deck, and none of them are Scientist spells, oddly enough. I do have a Stroke of Genius in there, which is a nice card. Blight Skull Bomb is my only real removement card. I've got my Loyan half for creature-wise. Don't have a whole lot. I've got a Veilbite. I got a Built-A-Bot, but Veilbite's my only augment that can be played from that. So Built-A-Bot's mostly useless. My Necrium half, of course, has the Krogaius. That's the finisher. Got a Necromancer. Got a Raging Harvester. A Bride of Frankenbaum to play some free spells, potentially. But, yeah, the deck is all about Killian and Krogaius. But no Mantis Forge Seal. Next up, we have Ankh, who got the bye this round. He's got a Necrium Loyan deck as well. He has a Killian as well. His Convergence is on cycle 4. He has 6 spells. He's got an Energy Surge, Tech Upgrade, Circe's Call, Ghastly Renewal. These are all natural, by the way. They're not scientist pulled, which is interesting. His Aloyan half, he's got a Charge-Plated Virtuoso. He's got an Aetherforge Oracle to potentially level that up. He's got a Pulse Mage, which could be really nice. In his Necrium half, he's got a Cutthroat Stitcher, a Darkheart Sorcerer. He's got a Scourge Hydra. So it's an interesting Necrium half. He's got the Killian. So it's interesting. I wonder how much he relies on the Darkheart Sorcerer for this deck. Siphon Chrome might cause a problem against him. For him, anyway, with the no life gain. If he can't remove it quickly. And you gotta be wary of course, he wants to play spells, but if you're also playing spells, Circe's Call filling up his board for him. Pulse Mage chucking a lot of things to destroy other creatures instead of itself, potentially. Interesting deck here. Wonder how it plays. The upside down, we have our first deck without Necrium in it. We have an Aloyan Utera build, Darkforged Utera build. We have 5 spells. You have Essence Unleashed for some control, Botanimate-like effect. You have Favor the Swarm, Hunting Hour, Electronet, and the Silver Arc. He plays Blighted Circe, which has Blight Touch in cycle 3, which reduces an enemy creature's health by 14. That can clear a lane to push some damage through. He's got a lot of big creatures in this deck. Like I said, I played it earlier, got lucky against it. His deck wants a lot of big breakthrough creatures. The first 2 games he didn't draw any of them, it seemed like. The third match he did, but I still got lucky at the end. But he has a Blasphemous Tangle Sprout, Descendant Biologist. He has an Insidious Rager, Healing Felonarch, Lycian Hydra, Marching Bee, and Tarantus. So the creatures are pretty good. It's not even truck full of scientists. He's got 1 scientist in that half. The rest of his points come from the Aloyan half. So he's got Ira in the Aloyan half. He's got a Siphon Chrome. He has his Stabilizing Virtuoso really came in handy for him several times. He's got a Cortex Vein. Yeah, this deck played. It was really tough because his creatures are really big. And he's got some things like Marching Bee can move, so you got to be wary of that. So the deck played against me very tough. I'd be curious to see how it does as it progresses. I think the deck looks like it could be pretty good. If he gets the breakthrough creatures out there, if he gets Ira flipped, it's just a lot to handle with everything he's got in the deck. So very cool deck, first non-Necrium deck we have in the event. Might be the only one, I don't know. We have Ike's Ninjas. So we're back to the Aloyan Necrium. It's funny because some of these Necriums or Aloyan, primarily Necrium decks, are not Scientist decks. They're just like a natural set 1 deck, but they have lots of Scientists in them. Or their Aloyan halves must have tons and tons of Scientists in them. So he's probably playing the Steel Rosetta with all the minion generation there. He does get Inspire from Circe, which has Death Touch. He's got 7 spells. He's got Mechamorphosis, Sapient Augmentation. He's got Ghastly Renewal, Soul Reap, and Varnus Pact for the Necrium. And then for his creatures in Aloyan, he's got a Pulse Mage. He's got a Rallying Circuitist. He's got an Operator, Necrium half. He has an Abyssal Fiend. He does have a Summoner. He's got a Necrotic Harvester, Raging Shambler, Shambling Necromancer. So, and then he's got a Stitcher. So he's got a Stitcher Harvester combo with Operator, Stitcher Harvester Operator combo. He's got a Shambling Necromancer. Double Shambles here. So that's definitely the route he's going. He does not like to see Cyphron Chrome, for sure. We'll see if it pays off for him. He does have a lot of minions there to pump things up, put something down for Rallying Circuit just to hit, pump his board up. What we're not seeing in a lot of these decks is a ton of removal. So something like this where you've got a lot of cards that your opponent needs to try to get rid of. They can't really control the board unless they overwhelm you with the size of their creatures. So be interesting to see how this plays out. You know, with the double shamble, the harvester, operator, all this stuff that he wants to have on the board. What do you choose to get rid of? And, you know, then he drops the Rallying Circuitist and pumps everything back up, and it makes it harder to kill again. You know, without having the removal to get some of these things off the board. So, be interesting to see. This deck could be very tough. This might be one of the better decks we've seen. It is a 2 bonus point deck. So, compared to the other Scientist decks, much fewer Scientists. Next up, we have Billy Bad Aim. So we see Rusty's Aloyan Necrium deck. He's probably playing Steel Rosetta. He gets the Cycle 3 ability, the Queen's Knife. Okay. So he's got an Apocalypser Drix with an Operator. He does have a Harvester as well. So he's got Operator Harvester. No Stitcher. He's got 9 spells. He's got a Sonic Burst that can be clutch. Very clutch against some of these decks. His other spells for Aloyan, okay. He's the first one I think I've seen set. He's got a set 1 Aloyan non-legendary drop deck here he's playing with. So he's so deep with decks that he doesn't need legendary drop Scientist for the Scientist event. He does have Endless Hunt and Rise of the Fallen, so that's a Reanimate a Warrior, Reanimate a Creature potentials. He does have Soul Harvest to also discard things out of your hand potentially. Summoning Horde for some board presence with minions. He's got a Disciple of Varric, Diabolist. I already said the Harvester. So by all means, an Apocalypser deck with a lot of potential minion generation from and replacement synergies with Operator, Harvester, Drix, Apocalypser. So all these Scientists piling up, and then potential reanimation. So even if you remove stuff, Sonic Burst, you got to be wary of that. That's going to be a problem. This deck could also be very good. So he's also got a 2 bonus point deck. So those 2 decks might be the 2 best decks in this whole event. And they got 2 bonus points. They're going to have to go... They need to go 4-0 to auto-qualify. So it'll be interesting to see if that's the case, if that's what they do, or if they have to play each other. That'd be really bad. Next to last, we have Crypto Phantom. He's got a Necreum Aloyan build. It looks like he might be playing the Blighted Sunder. He's got 7 spells. Evil Lab, Ghastly Renewal for some reanimation potential. He's got Energy Surge on the Aloyan half there. His Necreum deck has, like I said, it's a JedForge deck. He's got a Pipwick. He's got a Catalyst, a Technocrat, a Warped Technocrat. So he's got to pay health to keep that on the board. He's got a Vicious Mutant, which is a great combo there. Voidwing Cacklebones. And then his Aloyan half, he has an Aloyan Sage. He's got an Attentive Tactician. Brigade Carrier for some Gizmo minions, potentially. So definitely looks like he's living by the Necreum creature half. Or at least that's the better majority of the creatures. So an interesting deck there. His deck is a 0 bonus point deck, so not a ton of scientists there. And then lastly, we have Hart Francis. Necreum Aloyan. He's got 6 spells with a River of Souls. He's got a Drone Hive, Electronet, Varix Embrace, so he's got some good spells. Corpus Cliffs and Renewal, okay, but not great. Not sure which Forgeborn he's playing. It might be Nixnekia. Don't know if he's doing Sovereign Pillars with the Ironbeard or not. His Necreum half has Darkshaper Savant, Hantu. He's got a Dr. Frankenbaum. He does have a Vile Stitcher, so probably not playing that one much. Unless you're trying to trigger a Hantu trigger or something, if that's on the board. So that's at least got some synergy there in that regard. He's got a Betrayer Master in the deck, so if he plays mages, he gets a Spell Sprite minion. But it's a scientist-themed deck, so he probably doesn't have tons of mages. And then in his Aloyan half, he's got a Betrayer Hantu. He's got a Prepared Assassin, a Steel Eye Researcher, so if he does put out some minions, the Researcher can grow pretty good. The Assassin's got Stealth. He's got double Hantu, though, so that's definitely what he's going with here, is double Hantu procs. This is a 0 bonus point deck, so not a lot of scientists overall, but he does meet the minimum. So, interesting deck. Low on spells, but double Hantu is intriguing, and if with the low amount of removal people have, they're going to have to combat the Hantus to get them off the board. That's something I'm seeing in all the decks, is very low removal. So we'll refresh this page, see if anyone's played since then. No one else has played. So we got Bionic Soup versus Thigh, Wood Noggin versus Skull Crusher, Namrog Nullseed. Interesting. Okay. So that's all the scientist decks. We can switch over back to the game. Overall, I think everyone except Brandon is Necreum Aloyan, which isn't surprising because they're the only 2 factions that are really heavy into scientists. Utera does have some, but not many. The best decks are probably the 2 I talked about, Rusty's and Isaac's. They're only 2 bonus points, so they don't have much margin for error. Even losing a match, that puts them on the bubble. So they definitely don't want to have to face each other, but they both need to win matches. So they could still end up playing each other at some point and eliminating one another. So it'll be interesting to see how these matches play out. If the 5-point decks in the Scientist event, if they dominate, they're going to eliminate everybody else. If they struggle again, is it going to cause players to stop bringing 5-point bonus decks? Like I said, a great advantage being able to go 3-1 with the deck, but you got to be able to win those 3 games, and it can be really tough because there's a level of it's kind of a handicap compared to certain other decks, like Isaacs and Rusty's. I bet they're gonna. I don't know that they're gonna lose a match unless they play each other. Their decks are really good, in my opinion, compared to the rest of these decks. Anyhow, some of the Killian decks could do pretty well. I think Brandon's deck is really good. His is also a 2-point deck. His deck's very interesting. I'm so happy I got the wins and got lucky in that regard, but yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. We also, like I said, I think I said at the beginning of the video, we're going to look and wait for an official ruling on the IRA, if it's counting as 1 point or if it gets a bonus point for the IRAX. We'll see. If it does, some people may bump up to 3 bonus points or 1 bonus point or more bonus points. We will see. I think it should just count as 1 because the card comes with the other card. You don't have it separate, but I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. As we'll have weekly updates on this, probably in the second video each week, unless depending, I don't know, maybe we'll do updates. I don't know. We'll probably plan for the second video of each week to do updates on this and talk about the standings, where things are at, the matchups that are going on, and we'll see. So, like I said, right now Novus has 8 points already, so he's doing very well. One more win, and he's already on the bubble of making it. So those 5-point players can do really well. Win their first 2, and then all they got to do is win one of their last 2. So it's definitely an advantage. I remember in the dinosaur event, I was like, ooh, that's really nice. I lost early, though, so that sucked. But and I lost my last match. But it gives you hope when maybe you don't necessarily think you're going to have hope. So yeah, so that's that. Not much else to say. Nothing else going on in game. There is no event showing up here, so people are asking if events are coming back. Where'd they go? They did an event for the Mage Legendary Drop, and after that, there's been none. So I don't know. There is gold. There is something coming up on the horizon. Hopefully it'll be announced next week or maybe sooner than that. I don't know. We'll see when things get announced and put out. But I'll have info on that in my next video. So looking forward to announcing that. And yeah, we'll see what else is going on. I know JedForge is going on. I can actually, let me pull up JedForge. We can update that event while I'm here, while I'm doing it. If I can switch to it. Okay. So this is the bracket. We have Jed is waiting for the winner of the losers bracket, which right now Peter is waiting for people to catch up to him to be able to play him so he can lose to Jed again. We have Bleak and Red Eyes playing here in the losers round 4, and you have Carl and Isaac playing, and the winners of those 2 matches will play each other for the right to play Peter. So there's been a lot of, I will say, there's been a lot of discussion about the combo that Jed is playing, and I don't fault Jed. He pulled a really good version of the deck that he needed I wouldn't say it's a really good version. It had all the cards he needed in the version to be able to do what he's doing. And there's other versions out there that people have drawn or can draw that can do the same thing, just a little differently, perhaps. So the infinite combo, infinite damage. But it's I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for, but it's like anti what the game is supposed to be about. So there's a level of I guess I don't want to say animosity. Like, I don't have any animosity towards Jed, but I think there's animosity towards that deck and that combination. And a lot of people, in particular, Traveler, kind of leading the charge, but plenty of people agree with his sentiment that a change needs to be made. And Lucas finally responded earlier this week to it, and they said they'll look into it and try to find a solution that's not going to take, break the game or cause all sorts of other issues. I do know some people then were pushing like, well, why don't we fix Mantis Forge Seal or Forgeborn abilities, how often you can use them, and some other things, and like that's a much bigger change, and I don't think we should be looking at that. I think that can be looked at. That needs to be looked at. I think a lot of cards need to be looked at. There's a slew of cards. I think we need to look at their power level and consider how it affects things. But in this instance, this particular instance, they can make a change to one card and resolve the problem that we're having that came from the new set. And yes, it only fixed that one infinite combo, does not fix any of the Mantis stuff, does not fix Forge Seal, does not fix other things. You can still, even without fixing depending how they fix it, you could still do the combo with Forge Seal. So with the Dark Heart Sorcerer, I think, and whatnot, but I don't know. I don't want them to make a big change and be like, well, we're going to fix Forge Seal and Mantis, and you do this, or you can only use Forgeborn abilities once a turn, because that changes so many things. Like, I get it's annoying being able to use multiple Forgeborn abilities, or in the infinite combos, it's one of the key mechanics for it. But I think in the larger grand scheme of things, if we want to address it, they need to sit down, have discussions with either the community as a whole or select members from the community to speak with, and get ideas on what the true issues with the cards are, what's really broken. And I just think changes like that would change the game. It could change it for better. It could change it for worse. I don't know how it will change it in that regard. I just think it's such a big change. It resets a lot of things. And in general, changes like that don't make players happy typically. You'll have, yes, a certain faction of players will be very happy because they don't like the mechanic, so they don't really want to play it, and they don't want anyone else to be able to play it. But the problem is you have everyone else outside their little bubble who are going to be very upset. You're going to have people who just quit because, well, their favorite deck that they've been playing is trash now because they can't, use a Forgeborn ability twice in a turn now. And there's just a lot of, there's a lot of things with that. I don't think the Forgeborn ability once a turn is the solution, but nonetheless, I hope they find a solution that fixes just this issue, and then they do look at balance changes going forward, because there's always going to be the problem of Mantis Forge Seal with new Forgeborn abilities and new card mechanics like that. So to having to curb your design space, they should look at Mantis and Forge Seal and try to find a solution on them. They have, let me pull it up. Pull it up in game here. So something they do, if I can switch back my screen, something they do that is, it's not intuitive to me. I don't like how they do it, but it's their ruling and it's how it is, right? So when a creature dies and he comes back into play on the same turn, he's the same creature. So if you have a Thunder Sword die and you had a card that was like slay, reanimate a creature, you trigger the reanimation, you bring the Thunder Sword back onto the board, his effect of gain this much attack then can apply to him because he's back on the board. I hate that interaction personally. I think it's ridiculous. But because they do have that interaction, they also have this on a card like Windweaver Asir, which I hate that they do, but I guess it helps prevent infinite combos, is my guess. He has an activate ability. You can only use this ability once per turn. If you kill him and he comes back in play and you already used his activate, you cannot activate the ability again to use it again. This to me is the solution to the Spellweaver card. This is the solution to Mantis. Forge Seal, because the spell, you might have to either make a new rule for it or figure something out with that as well, but once per turn. Or maybe this, it applies this card text to a card. Maybe that can only be applied once per turn to a card. Or maybe it has to go, maybe it needs to also say you can only use this once per turn, so they could use it maybe up to 5 times if you had a full board of untapped creatures, if you're able to bring it back like that. But then after that, they're done, unless you can keep creating a new creature that can keep getting it, which the Spellweaver might allow with the zombie. But if he only goes in, if they also make the zombie have to go in an open lane, then that might also solve that problem, because eventually your board's going to be full and you'll have no lanes to put the zombie. So I don't know off the top of my head for sure, but just spitballing, I don't know why this is not the solution to Mantis. Use it once per turn. This allows you to use your Forgeborn abilities potentially 3 times in a turn, which I don't think is broken currently. Is it powerful? Potentially, yes. But you're building a deck maybe around that to a certain extent. You're taking that into consideration. So I don't know why they don't do it that way. But that's just my thoughts. So that's my suggestion for the solution. With that said, not much else for this video. It's been long enough. Took me forever to get through these decks. All Necrium, Aloyan, kind of boring in my opinion. But it's a scientist. It's what I expect. The next 2 sets for Creature Chaos, Warriors and then Mages, they're all 4 factions. Should be much more exciting than these first 2 with Dinos and Scientists. But let me know what you think of the decks. Do you think that Isaac and Rusty have the 2 best decks? Or are they just really good and not maybe the best? Which deck do you think is the best? And then also, while we're talking about it, what do you think they should fix with the Spellweaver? What's your fix? I know people have put in Discord some suggestions and ideas, of course, but I think they, fix Spellweaver, and then if they want to do a larger from set 1 to current balancing type thing. I think, that's going to take some time, but they can look at it and see what they can do. The goal, in my opinion, with that would be obviously balance changes, but also not too much where you need, where a printed card in physical is going to be a different card when you look at it. You don't want to be reading a card and be like, well, that's not its ability at all anymore. It does this. Adding one line of text that's not there on a physical card shouldn't be a big deal, other than when players who don't have the errata list or, know that there was a change, they're going to get surprised eventually about it, but it's a simple addition for some cards. Some cards are going to be a little more difficult, but are there other cards you think that need balancing besides Spellweaver, Mantis, and Forge Seal? Or do you only think that Mantis needs fixed? Or do you think it's just Forgeborn abilities? What's your take? Let me know your comments. Leave some comments in the video for me, and I'll respond with my thoughts to your comments. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the long deck review of the decks in the Scientist Creature Chaos event. We have this going on for the next 4 weeks. Looking forward to seeing how these matches turn out and hoping to avoid the decks that I think are really good. I already played one that I think is really good, so I've taken my turn. So now it's time for me to play the easy decks, so I can qualify for the Creature Chaos final event. Would really like to be able to qualify for that. So, yeah, I'll see you guys in and around the game. And like I said, look for next week for the big announcement. I don't want to call it a big announcement, but for where things are with the game, I guess it's kind of big. So keep an eye out for that. I'll see you guys next time.